All right, this is a chart for my son um, from May 7th. That was right when we had the full moon eclipse in Scorpio uh, at 14 degrees 52 minutes, May 5th, 6th. He worked midnights that night, so it was technically the 7th Sunday morning um, that all of this occurred. He was assaulted by a coworker. He's a security guard. Um, and there was a very bad storm that night. Things were hectic with the power going out and the emergency power going out and the fire department coming, and so tensions were rising. Nice Scorpio full moon. He is a Cancer, and Sun and Mercury. Uh, what I'm trying to point out here with all these videos is, we know that our natal charts are the energies that we are born with, but they are also appearing to be a blueprint when all of the transit planets go around. And what I've been discovering by using various named asteroids that apply to situations is everything happens right on time, by name, by address, um, and people are in our lives for reasons. So, what I'm going to start with here, I wanted to point out in his natal chart, his work address and the road number are exactly conjunct. And with Arago being not only our house address, he started working there, living here at this house. He also, it's also, things happening right on time, looking at things a new way. Uh, that's where I started learning how to do this, was also at this address. So that connects here to his 12th house Jupiter in Virgo. Virgo is a work and service. Um, let's see what else. Yeah, bear with me here. So I had mentioned that there was a storm, and the green here is transit planets that go this direction. The black are his natal planets. There was a storm that had crossed his karma and our town name, and it was directly opposite transit karma, which was exactly almost conjunct Crantor. Crantor is a violent centaur. I've seen it over and over again with acts of violence. So by transit, they were opposite his karma, our town, the storm, uh, and it connects around to chaos by transit was conjunct Venus that night. And Venus, of course, rules our work as well as love and money. And 29 degrees is a critical degree. And that connects around to the road number by transit that he works on, the man's first name, which connect over here to our county and his work address, which sit on his Esculapia, which is a medical. He was given a severe concussion, had at least 8 good lumps on his head. Real fun night. And that connects down here to his Aesculapius. And of course, it connects Neptune was connecting to his Aesculapius here. Uh, Jupiter here, 8th house. 8th house is ruled by Scorpio and Pluto. And of course, that's power and control issues and emotional intensity. There was also that April 19th eclipse here at 29 degrees that affected. I have tornado in here. I don't know if there were tornadoes that night, but apparently the other guard's wife had been calling him repeatedly, terrified that there was going to be a tornado. And so his emotions were already over the top with everything going wrong at work. So that tied in with the tornado And as you see here, asteroid Gardy, he is a guard, was in conjunct his Uranus almost exactly. Capricorn, work. Gemini's communications. Fourth house is your deep inner emotions, and that connects here to transit Torneo and Nessus near his descendant axis, other people, and those connect to his last name, my son's last name. Hygeia had just crossed over that. Uh, Black Moon Lilith, who we know can get a bit outraged at things, as connect his Saturn here, natal. And these are all opposite Crantor, his natal Crantor, which is exactly conjunct Pax, which happens to also be a variation of the man's last name. So, it's very interesting. These also connect to his Pluto here. There were several things that connect all around 18 to 20. Oh, yes, Eris here, Chiron was transiting here near his Eris. Eris discord for positive change. And of course, it had just right on his 8th house cusp. All that emotional intensity for transformation. So let's see. Transit Asclepius was on his natal Guardi. And that connected over to transit Eris and closely to Jupiter. There's a lot right just between 25 and 29 degrees. It's hard to decide where to put it all. The man's exact first name here in his natal chart at 22 degrees is near his part of fortune. Trying to remember. Oh, and Pax, soul contracts by transit was at 2145, had crossed back across the man's first name exact. Aesculapia here was square to that April 19th eclipse, 29 degrees, which of course connected to the 29-degree chaos and Venus. And as you look around, you just see more and more that match up. Pax here transit to his Nessus. Nessus is the troublemaker. And where was transit Nessus that day? It's there somewhere, but not when I want to find it. So, yeah, so this is his natal chart and how everything lined up. We had Asclepius on Hades. Hades is another everything happening right on time. It's a, you know, Lord of the Underworld, all the dark stuff. Atlantis, I always put in Atlantis because it just seems to tie in all the time to big things that happen. And Atlantis by transit, square, that square to Saturn, and Atlantis is opposite my sun. Now his two asteroids are here together at 553 and 654. One of them is his name spelled with a Y, and the other one is his name with sun on the end. So that's why I just put sun and Y. Over here, Y is at 1312 with Aesculapia. Oh yes, my son's last name here at 29 degrees was with Pluto retrograde at 021. That ties into all the other 29s. In particular, it's opposite his Aesculapia, his work address. And if we look here, the road number and the man's first name are sextile to that. and connect all into that. The man's first name had crossed opposite his Asclepius. I think I mentioned that. The full moon eclipse had happened opposite his Juno. Uranus was here at his chaos. So let's see, Asclepius on Hades. And then, of course, it was in a semi-sextile to Hades here, and sextile to my son's asteroid here. So, yeah, so that's the natal chart for him. I didn't highlight as many, so bear with me, but this is his progressed chart. And again, the transit planets are on the outside in green. I added in another one here. Phaeton is out of control, again in the 8th house. And it's connecting here to his work address at 2357. And it was opposite Asclepius, his progressed Asclepius. Into Pax over here. We've got connected to his work address by transit. Chaos and Venus are sextile to that Pax soul contracts. Our town and Karma and Jupiter are all together here, 11th house Virgo for him. Friends groups. Black Moon Lilith was on his Venus in Leo. You know, Leo's very proud. Leo is ego. 10th house work. So we have big egos there. Let's see what else. Let me pause a moment, regroup. Of course, Mars aggression was right here, and his work address. All of these are connected here too. There's Torneo again. Oh, what I had forgotten in his natal was that Mercury retrograde was back on his Mars. And about 4 days later, he had taken a break because of the concussion, and he has a very good work ethic. He went back to work, and we wound up going back to the emergency room because he tripped down some steps. He was still dizzy from the concussion when Mercury was back on his Mars and Mars on his Mercury. So that was fun. Chaos has been affecting me very much. I did 4 ER trips and an urgent care trip that week between he and my brother. I was actually in the ER with my brother when he tripped and fell, and he sprained his wrist and his ankle from that one with the Mars Mercury deal going on. And there was also some squares with his medical in our town for that. We were having problems with the emergency room for his sprains, and that's why we had to go to urgent care for a second opinion. So anyway, yeah, I missed that in his natal. So the man's first name here and Hygeia and his progress chart are very close together, and they connect over here to my son's Y and Sun asteroids, and Meta, which Meta is to go beyond. It's Facebook nowadays, and I'm also seeing it looks like it's related to medical. So the moon, of course, had crossed over all of those. He was pretty emotional, understandably. I know I'm going to miss all kind of things on this. We have transit Guardi here. It's connecting to his descendant and ascendant. His Uranus-Neptune midpoint. It's a quincunx to that by transit. Pax was retrograde opposite his progressed storm. His progressed vertex has Hades sitting on it in the eighth house. That's that underworld. Vertex is your destiny's gateway. It's also transformation. Um, we had quite a few things go on that week. So let's see. Eris, transit Eris here to his progressed Asclepius and to his work address with Mars on it, and of course connected to Phaeton. We have Moon in the eighth house, and that connects there to that transit Pax over here. And again, that's a in conjunct, which I keep saying just seems to be a karmic timing, and those also connect to Nessus. Yeah, the more you look, the more you see. It's always, we got Guardy here, sextile to Mercury in Leo, that egos is part of fortune at 623, connects to Saturn by transit, and let's see, that was him. And all right, yeah, we're going downhill here. Am I trying to explain? But my point with all of this, really, even if my brain goes kind of nuts and I can't think how to explain it all, is that when you know what to look for, you can look at events that have already occurred and see that they happen. This is my natal chart here, which I do know better than his. And the man's exact first name at 2747 is almost on my son's name here at 2817. Of course, I didn't learn about what he had done until after he got home that morning. So, pretty much an exact hit. Uh, wasn't something that we were real thrilled about, but my son did not press charges because he understood it was just crazy and the man had enough going on. He did quit his, the man did quit. So, putting him in jail wouldn't do any good. So, that created here an inconjunct to my son with a Y here, which was a 29 degree. And of course, we had that beautiful 29-degree chaos in Venus right opposite his name in my chart. This Uranus and Sun by transit here are opposite my Gagnero. Guard trine to my Uranus, which is in the fifth house of children, relationships. Uranus is also my creative projects, which is, of course, doing this. Um, Guard created a square to Nessus. I got an argument with his boss over the whole ordeal. Yay. Very emotional week for a lot of people. We were not left out of that. So, my son's last name and Pluto. It's also my daughter's last name. And they both had big things go on with Pluto that week, too. So, the chaos definitely hit all of us. Juno here is on my Saturn. Neptune, of course, square to my last name, which sits right here at 2701. Nessus, the troublemaker, trying to my Gagnero here. Uh, let's see. Mars makes a trine to my Gianna. And I do right now have a Pluto trining my Mars in Miller, and also trining my natal Pluto. So that's a grand trine. And this is where my Atlantis and my Diaritza, which is the asteroid backwards. So even though all of this chaos on a lower level is insanity and what all's going on in our lives, uh, it does give me a lot of good charts. I have quite a few that I could sit here and do. So anyway, if you're still here, thanks for watching and just hang in there. Everything that's happening has a higher purpose. We just have to look for it.